Hello. It is Sunday, April 18th, 2021. This is the Yormish Full Body Workout, Cycle 7, Chapter 1, Iteration 7. Yeah, 7 days in a row. It's kind of worked out. So, yay, celebration of that fact. I've also been walking about 3 miles, taking the slow route every day, except I haven't done it yet today. It's probably a good idea to do it after the workout. And sometimes it's kind of fun to do it after eating, kind of that evening constitutional type concept. All right, so public service announcement right now. Please do not waste your time watching this unless you have a very specific reason to watch this. Otherwise watching this video will probably be a waste of your time, and I would hate to waste your time. Wow, that is so the opposite of, hey, like and subscribe, I just imagine of some video of this Daredevil kid jumping off of a cliff to his death. Don't forget to like and subscribe, that kind of thing. Wow, so many people sneak that in there. Maybe I just subliminally did. Oh wow, I gotta spot myself. I think I was genuinely making a joke at that. Yeah, the verdict says I was genuinely making a joke at that. Otherwise, I would say, seriously, folks, please, no. Definitely not on the merit of this video. If there's anything else that someone... I have the common sense. I like to believe that someone actually does like. But yeah, subscribing to my channel is probably a bad idea. Just because you're going to get a lot of videos like this. And I would hate for you to be like, oh, I'm looking through my subscription things to get the ones I actually want. I have to go to... Because if you like one of my other things, because it's going to be random. There's all sorts of things I'm doing videos of, and it's really I am probably the only person in the world that likes, actually I don't. I was going to say I'm probably the only person in the world that likes 100% of my own material, but there's stuff I've filmed and I don't actually really like. The funny thing is I was thinking about, I'm not sure what I'll do for Chapter 2 in Cycle 7, which is tomorrow. I'm thinking about tomorrow already, and I haven't even finished today. But might as well get those thoughts on video right now. All right, Chapter 2 of tomorrow's video. What is going to happen? Because Chapter 2 is Adventure Week. What adventure do I have planned? Part of me, there's a distinct part of me that says, hey... I could do this workout again and then do a walk around the block and then come back and do a challenge. And the thing about Adventure Week is I don't always video the Adventure Week, and I probably should, because that AKA leads to higher accountability. I don't know why it was AKA. I don't know why it was also known as, but maybe a different word would have been a better selection there. So the short version of tomorrow will be some sort of adventure. It's probably not going to be this workout plus, some sort of challenge. It's probably going to just be a challenge. I'm thinking, I'm thinking maybe just a chin-up challenge. Here, I'm thinking about adding to the chin-up challenge too, because I haven't done negatives in a while. And negatives, for anybody who doesn't know or anybody wants to correct me if I'm wrong, and I very well might be wrong on this, but what I believe negatives are in doing pull-ups is be able to jump up to the pull-up bar and then just go down and make no strength really in going up, but just doing the negatives and going down. And I've done a few of those before where you do a few normal pull-ups and then you just do negatives on top of that, and it's like, okay, that's interesting. So maybe what I'll do as a challenge, because I haven't done this in a while, it's one of the challenges I like, is sets of 2. Do 14 sets of 2. I think I did watch a YouTube video where a guy talked about that challenge. And he didn't talk about it as oh, it's a challenge. No, it's this is a pathway to getting your back stronger. And it seems like pull-ups are one of the best exercises to really expand your back and give your body the room it needs to, put more muscle into the frame and all that kind of stuff. At least that's what I believe. So pull-ups are special, and pull-ups are partially special because I used to really suck at them, and it's nice to be able to be terrible at something and kind of turn it around. And now I'm getting better. Do I think I'm good at them? No. Do I think I'm getting better? Yes. Do I have faith in my body to continue getting better? Yes. As long as I show up and keep putting in the reps. Okay, that all has been said. So yeah, that's probably going to be tomorrow's challenge. And it'll be the fun thing about that challenge. It's 14 minutes long. On the top of the minute, I'm choosing the number 2, but yeah, 2 pull-ups. And then I wait a minute. I might go crazy. I might do 3. Yeah, you know what? Worst case scenario, 3, and I don't make it all the way to the 14. And hey, at least I've done 3. And I just want to do total amount of pull-ups to be above 28, because 14 sets of 2 is 28. So how many times 3? Wow, I need at least 10 sets of 3 to beat 28, because 10 sets of 3 is 30. So really all I'm adding to, well, that doesn't make sense. Hold on a second. Let's play with the numbers. Okay. So 14 sets of 2, 28. After you do 9 sets of 3, you're at what, 27? And then you have those last 5 sets of 3, which is 15, I guess. Okay, that does make sense. All right, 15, 28. Oh, wow. So it's like that near that tail end, because my mind is not seeing a huge difference between 14 sets and 9 sets. So it's like, or 10 sets. It's like, oh, it's only, 4 more sets. And, so, but in those 4 more sets, there is 14 more pull-ups. Crazy when you think about it, because 4 sets is 12, plus 2 more, that gets, that's 14 right there. Yeah. Playing with the math on that. It's sort of a brain bender for me a little bit to have fun with that. Okay. All right. So now that we've done a little bit of brain bending and we've done a whole bunch of talking, maybe it's time for me to zip my lips and get to it. First, as always, a little bit of stretching and then the actual workout. that's it. Glad I got through it. I guess now is a little bit of talking time, so why not talk about a few ideas. Note to self, probably should write a part in the book about that one comedian. You know which book I'm talking about. Him growing up, him having like his 98-year-old grandmother with him, and he's doing some exercises he was watching on the computer or something. And he does this exercise where he holds his leg out, holds it completely perpendicular for like 30 seconds. And then he holds out his other leg and he's struggling with it. He gets his right leg, but he doesn't get his left leg. And then he watches his grandmother's doing it, does it all with them. And she's really happy about it. And he misinterprets it as a little kid. He's mad that he cannot even do what his 98-year-old grandmother's doing. She's happy because she can keep up with her grandson. She's like, I'm amazed to be this healthy at 98. That's her mental reaction, but he doesn't know that. He figures that out years after she's dead when he's trying to do comedy, and he tries to do a joke about that situation. And he just can't figure out a good way to tell that joke because he's trying to turn a new leaf. He's trying to tell cleaner jokes, nicer, happier building jokes. A comedian friend of his that's way more successful than he is, who's actually borrowed some of his jokes with permission. Like, hey, can I use that joke? Yeah. And he does like a cleaned up version of it. These two guys, the closest thing he has to a brother. Anyway, he thinks about him and he's trying to turn over a new leaf and really trying to go the clean route. And so that's one of the clean jokes that he does, is just, he can't get it right. He tries it all sorts of different ways, and he tries to make all sorts of different punchlines, all centering around that situation, that misinterpretation and appreciation. He's trying to get that spirit of appreciation and niceness and happiness and giving something different to the audience that's not centered on complaining. A lot of his humor is based upon complaining about stuff and common sense and different things like that, and criticizing, which he figures out later for him is very easy to do. Like for me, doing not necessarily criticism humor, but I think criticism humor is easy for everybody. I mean, maybe not, but you know, it seems like it is. Mine is just grossness, just gross. You know, if you can't get a laugh, get a grunt or get a you know. So yeah, grossness. So using my little bit of knowledge, my little bit of experience, getting up on stage once in a while, writing that part and making that part work well. So that's a note to self. One of my next scenes to write is a whole bunch of different scenes dedicating. Start with that scenes when he's trying to remember the scene where he's talking to his buddy and trying to turn over a new leaf and do clean humor. And maybe his buddy did something like there is have to look into it, but it has to figure out the past, all right, so there was that suicide thing. Then there was, yeah, and there's also something, maybe I should get bigger into the whole suicide and cleaning up the dude's apartment and all that. Not the main character. The main character does not commit suicide. But like the aftermath and how like one selfish and stupid act and one person's belief that if I kill myself, they'll all be sorry, and nobody's sorry. Nobody cares. Everybody thinks that person's an asshole after they kill themselves, even more than when they thought that person was an asshole in real life. They think that person's even more of an asshole, and disrespect them even further after the suicide. So it's kind of an object lesson there. You have zero control of what happens after your death, you know, that kind of thing. And this is really an interesting tale upon that. So that's added in there. Part of the impetus for him to turn over a new leaf and quit criticizing and start appreciating. Because he wants to feel better. He doesn't want to follow the same steps that his buddy did. And maybe even there is like some sort of chain link effect that people don't really talk about in suicides. I don't know why I'm thinking about this other than just the book. Yeah, it's basically just the book, but so if anybody else watching this besides me, yeah, there's no
weirdness here. It's only for a book. One of the main characters that I wrote years ago took his own life and all that kind of stuff. So it's nothing with what's going on now. Although now I have been thinking about death a little bit, just because there's been a passing, not in my immediate circle, but in one circle removed from my immediate circle. And that's an interesting place to be. I'm not going to even say it's a hard place to be. It's not a hard place to be. It's a confusing place to be, because you don't know what to say sometimes. And everything you seem to say to somebody who's in grieving, fortunately the person that's in grieving is a very strong person of will and character, but someone of weaker character, everything you have to say has to come out on eggshells. And you know that there's nothing good that you can say. And when there's those moments where you just can't hide behind listening, and yeah, sometimes I'll hide, totally admit it, I hide behind listening when I don't know what to say, but that's actually for the best, because listening is so undervalued sometimes. Just that ability. Like, I used to undervalue listening. I was just like, the faster I can get to the best solution, the best thing to say, the better. Trying to get out of that habit, because I'm increasing my personal value towards listening, which is in part doing things like this. Although I did have a phone call tonight where I caught myself talking almost as animated like this, very animated. And I thought to myself, wow, okay, I could have pressed the listening button more. I could have gotten more out of the conversation. The other person could have gotten way more out of the conversation, maybe if I listened. Maybe not, I don't know. What I should have done is, this is a good thing, pro tip for anybody, not that I'm a pro or anything, but pro tip for any person wanting to get better at listening, especially on the phone. In a phone situation, it's great. Person, it seems a little bit removed, but I had my infinite notebook nearby and started writing, because I thought about something I could say and it would just cut the other person off. Nope, write it down. I won't forget it. Write down just a key word, whatever it takes for you to remember that key word. And when that person's taking a breath and really is open to you speaking, say what you're going to say, then say it. I always like the idea, that rule of 3. Say what you're going to say it, and then say and review what you just said. It seems like it's a very interesting prophylactic measure, as far as a lot of people don't hear things the first time. I know I certainly don't. So it's nice to have, like, okay, here's a preview. And the difference between preview and teaser is ominous. Teaser is what the news do. Film at 11, clickbait, teaser. Information, hey, get your mind ready for this, because I'm going to tell you how this thing possibly works. Bottom line, like, I'll give you an example from something I did recently. Hey, PlayStation 5s are a ripoff right now because you can only buy them through eBay. Wouldn't it be cool if Sony sold it directly to the customers? How could they verify that? That's an individual customer, and that customer's real of value, not someone that just got into their network. Well, do it through something they paid to get in the network, aka that whole membership in something called PlayStation Plus, which I found out was like $60 a year. It's like, wow, I thought it was like $40 a year. So now I'm feeling ripped off. But anyhow, so yeah, looking at your monthly bills, make that a regular practice, y'all. So I guess I should stop this. It's good to be here. This is the relaxation situation. So where was I going with this? Well, all right, I made the notes on the book, so that's done. Did talk about, just thoughts of death that have happened recently, and being in that secondary circle, and what's the best way to do that, and then the idea of listening, and also the idea that you could hide behind listening when you don't know what to say, and sometimes in a grieving situation that might be best. Sometimes just uttering a syllable of something and then having the person jump all over the syllable, just shut off what you're going to say, listen completely. Like at that point when someone's grieving, like, please allow them to interrupt. Give someone that luxury, that catharsis or whatever it is. And then there is, then I was going into pro tips on my end of listening, which is if you can write it down, a lot of what interruption is somebody who has a great thought and it's so good that they think they're in danger of forgetting it, and then they put it out there real quick. Sometimes the problem with putting it out there real quick is you don't really think it through, and it doesn't sound nearly as good when you put it out there as when it was in your head. And then sometimes when it doesn't sound nearly as good, oh man, I didn't really tell it the way it should be told. You try to tell it again, and then you're just hammering the point home twice in a bad way, which just makes it even worse. And I've caught myself doing that in certain situations. Like, it made so much sense in my head, but as soon as it's coming out of my mouth, it's not making sense. So it seems like writing down in a conversation helps that a lot. I've done that with certain conversations, certain serious conversations, but I don't actually want to do that just in serious conversations. I want to do that in informal conversations, not only because I want to stop myself from interrupting a person, but also sometimes for me, my memory's not perfect. And to really gather value from a conversation, those notes, those keywords, that memory gets a little bit sharper with a few keywords. I love the keywords idea because you're using your mind in a different way, it seems, or I am using my mind in a different way. I don't know about everybody else, but that keyword is like a memory tab, and I pull that tab in like the file cabinet. There's that little thing that says something, and all the real information's in the file. But without those tabs that you pull, you don't get. You can just pull random tabs, but you don't know what you're getting. I think my memory functions like that, and so it's nice to have a physical, outside my body memory tab, which is the written word sometimes. Also, just in memory in general, you have your memory palace. Well, guess what? Your memory palace is a lot of memory tabs put up into a very structured list, a very structured formula, which is awesome because it seems to be that is the way most people remember better. And it makes sense if you look at it through the lens of genetics. Is it more important? Is a human being more important? Is it more important for a human being to remember words on a list, or is it more important for a human being out in the plains, in the forest, in the jungles to remember, oh, these berries are here, these berries kill you, and these berries are good over there, and they grow so often, so every few days go here, avoid there, that kind of thing. And having hundreds of different locations for things, so physical locations, and remembering that and really getting used to your surroundings. So it's like once that internal map is laid down, which is probably a very interesting hidden advantage to being blind. There's not many advantages to being blind, but that's probably one of them, because that person has probably a contextual map memory of existence that can probably transcend not just physical locations. Use that kind of memory. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know too many blind people, only about 2 or 3 in my lifetime. And none of them I was hanging out with every week. I have a good friend, he's blind. I probably should hang out with him more because there's so much value to him. Also, one thing we should definitely do, I bring over my drum set over to his drum set, and then we just trade drum stuff back and forth. That'd be a really good time. And hopefully would not just sharpen my skills, but hopefully it would sharpen his skills. If nothing else, it would just be more time on the kit, which is probably the bare minimum necessary to sharpen skills. But I hope I have a little bit to share with him and open up some new insights or some new fun perspectives towards drums, and just basically have a really good time. But that's just me thinking out loud. As far as thinking about the advantages to having a huge memory palace, I don't know. I don't know if I have the correct words to ask him about that. I think he might, and if he doesn't, who knows? Maybe he could, and then he could go through some sort of amazing memory training and just be one of those people that can, rattle off. I don't know. I never saw the point to rattling off, pi to 76 digits or anything like that, but actually, I think I would only want to know pi to the basic 3.14, but I think it would be kind of cool to know it to like the 56th digit or after the decimal point, and actually have the 56th digit be a 6 or a 5 or something like that. So it's just like that weird kind of subtle, totally chanceable coherence that would like make sense in my own mind in a weird little way. So yeah, thinking about people, thinking about helping out lives, thinking about what little I can contribute. And there is good opportunities for me to contribute and do good things. Tomorrow, I have possibly a couple good ideas good opportunities to contribute in a hopeful, meaningful way. Hopefully I won't screw those up. Yeah. This stretch feels better when you just do it with half exertion. Not as taxing, but that's kind of nice to stretch out like this. These half-hearted stretches that I do at the end of this. It's more about me practicing using my vocal cords than anything else, but thinking about thinking. And I know that there's things I should be thinking about and touching upon and all that. Talk about meta. I was thinking about a meta YouTube video and like, what would that be? Then a friend of mine gave me the opportunity. He knows vastly more about YouTube than I do. But I made some comments on some videos. And good news is I realized you can make really long comments. Bad news is YouTube allows me to make really long comments. So I don't necessarily know if they're good comments or bad comments, but I made a couple comments on a couple different channels or a couple different videos. And, you know, in the spirit of writing, I was already in a writing frenzy and I needed to break the writing frenzy to stop on movement. And so I watched some YouTube videos, and one of the videos was like, hey, I really like this writer. Oh, cool. There's an interview with him with another guy I really, seemed to really like his perspective upon life. And or at least what I can gather from his YouTube videos, whether that's his real perspective or not, I don't know. Everything's a grain of salt. But since I do not know him personally, I'm going to err on the side of optimism, and hopefully the way he portrays himself in his videos and his things for life is hopefully very close to the real thing. And you know what? If it's not, I'll probably never know anyway, so that's just fine. So yeah, back to the whole thing, never meet your heroes, but not really a hero of mine, just a person that I think I try not to have heroes. Maybe because never meet your heroes. Because if I do get let down, it's like, I like that guy's persona. I could separate the messenger from the message sometimes, and then just attribute, this person's YouTube persona as this one thing, and the person being something else doesn't, and not allowing this to devalue this, even though it probably should because they're connected. Just playing that subjective reality game, and like this thing is still of value, and make it a thing within itself. So, yeah, the messenger and the message, huh? Anyway, so what was I going on all about that for? Anyway, long story short, made a comment in response to there was this question that was like, hey, make a comment to this comment that is something about when, and the turn of phrase was kind of funny. It was like, when life brought you low, or something like that. And I thought about that. I couldn't think of any examples. And I thought of one. And in some ways it seemed a little too on the nose. In some ways it seemed like, okay, yeah, that might not be what they're looking for. That might be not the spirit with which the question was asked. And so, back to the whole idea, painfully apparent in the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. Sometimes being vastly two different things. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake with this comment, but I could have. Entirely possible. So I was talking to my buddy, and I had him take a look at it. And he looked at the comment, and a couple different ideas. One thing he suggested is, dude, you should turn that into a play. And I'm like, I'm not going to turn it into a play. I'm not going to bring in actors and all that kind of stuff and act out a part myself. I'd probably play the part of myself with myself. And, at that point, do you really want to play with yourself in front of other people? No. now the part of myself as myself, portrayed by myself, it seems painfully self-centered in a bad way. But at the same time, I was thinking, I really want to get better at reading things out loud. Wouldn't it be very meta if I made a whole bunch of fun and interesting comments with a lot of jokes back and forth with people on YouTube? Hopefully there would be a good back and forth and stuff I truly appreciated. Like I saw a video the other day of this guy doing the best 30-second video on correcting your push-up form I've ever seen. Everything, I don't watch tons of those videos, but I've seen at least 3. So, of people doing, hey, these are push-ups in good form. Hopefully tonight my push-ups were in good form. Anyway, oh yeah, that's a big thing I was going for. Tonight, everything was different. I did a whole bunch, not everything was different, but big differences to me, big differences. Changed up some of the ordering. I added push-ups. I took my set of push-ups away from the back and forth with the section with just military press or shoulder press, and added it into the plank. So I did the plank, did some push-ups, like 3 breaths on the plank, 6 push-ups, that kind of thing, back and forth. And that felt like where it should be. That felt a little closer to home. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling more comfortable in my skin doing this. And the transition time was phenomenally better. So yeah, and minimizing hesitation space and transition time and all that kind of stuff. And then, knocking out those, right at the end of that whole section, just knocking out a single exercise, 3 sets of, 3 or 3 sets of 7 or whatever it was for shoulder press. So that was good. So that was a good difference tonight I was feeling about. And also, reining in my breath, doing that rhythm of a repetition, exhale, repetition, hold, repetition, inhale, repetition, hold, that kind of thing. Not trying to force it, not making it a negative association, not making it feel bad. If I try to force it, I feel my body's going to rebel and my emotions are going to be like, I don't feel like doing this, and just create that negative association. It's going to create eventually this log of hesitation and dislike and negativity over and over again, making this a positive experience. In some ways, using the powers of subjective reality, I'm really liking the workouts, but at the same time, I don't like it enough. I got to figure out more ways to like this. So, this is part of it. Getting to the end, this is a little reward. Hey, I can air anything in my mind. Go. No limit, just go. And that's some of the stuff I say to myself, like, in between sets, there was something I had to take care of, but at one point in between sets, I just wanted to sit and breathe. Cool. Eat up the video time. It's no big deal. Just sit and breathe. The world's not going to end. Sit and breathe. Take as long as you want. And my mind gently separating itself as the outside observer and saying that to my body. Breathe. Relax, man. It takes as long as it takes. We'll get through this together. It's harder for you than it is for me. But it's I'm here with you every step of the way, and that's my mind talking to my body. And there's a good chance we can get through the other side of this. We've done it before, So, and getting to that feeling good part. And also really starting to feel good with pushing the bonus reps or the bonus set or whatever it is. And sometimes I feel like that breathing exercise while working out, while actually exerting myself, is an interesting kind of bonus in a way, a different way of working out, maybe not just the muscles, but also my lungs in some weird way, or the connection between my lungs and my muscles, and who knows, I'm not exactly sure what it is, and probably some sort of interesting mind-body connection there too. Also tonight I was figured out, just doing the offhand, recenter myself with the breathing exercise on the running thing, which is 4 steps exhale, 4 steps hold, 4 steps inhale, 4 steps hold. And the way I kind of saw this is the cadence when there's people marching. So you have the person out that's calling out the cadence. 1, left 2 3 4, left 2 3 4, left 2 3 4, left 2 3 4, that kind of thing. That's a cool kind of cadence, but the cadence I'm thinking of is the one person, the cadence person actually going 1 2 3 4. Then all the marchers that are marching behind the person calling the time is 1 2 3 4. So 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. And then the way I was doing that was exhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing. And really just enjoying that, because instead of making it 4 different aspects, it's 2 aspects with 2 different things going on. So like, the action and the hold, and it's 2 things, so breaking them down into 2 sets, as opposed to 4, not 4 different items, 2 items versus 4 items. And so for some reason that makes more sense in my head. Back to phrases, when you say them, don't sound nearly as intelligent as when they're on your head. So that was fun, doing that and figuring that out. So the one note to self that I was thinking during the workout is actually out there, do writing on that particular aspect, and a whole bunch of different offshoots of that aspect. So, one of these decades that book will eventually be done. Yeah. So stuff. Oh yeah, and the video thing. Maybe, I don't know. If anybody's watching up to this point, hey, tell me. Hopefully nobody is. Maybe somebody is. I know it's incredibly easy if you have a whole bunch of words from a person to select words that you can use against them or to paint them in a negative light. So I'm painfully conscious of that fact, and yet still I'm here talking. It's like that advice to all defense attorneys give: just don't talk. Just don't talk. Don't talk. Say nothing. There's nothing good that's ever come from anybody saying anything to a police officer ever. I find that hard to believe, but I think if you're a defense attorney, your bread and butter is you make money when everybody believes that. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but who knows? I do see where the advice comes from, and I do see how it can be wonderfully useful, especially for innocent people, strangely enough. Some innocent people are like, I'm just talking to police, I'm innocent anyway. But it's like, hey, if that innocent person, didn't talk to the police, they wouldn't have been falsely convicted. It's like, wow, seeing those case studies. And maybe it's cherry picked out of the whole thing, but it's like, that's really scary. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that really scary, notion or video or whatever, that story being out into the zeitgeist, makes defense attorneys more money. And I wouldn't put it past attorneys to do this. There's a special kind of thought process, and I really got a full whiff of the attorney thought process when I was working on a business with a buddy of mine. It was his business, basically. I was just a part of it, and we were talking to a copyright attorney and doing some of the copyright stuff, or a patent attorney doing some of the patent stuff. And he asked, well, what do you think of this business? And the attorney said, very attorney-ish thing to say, I can give you a general opinion. To get my real opinion, it'll cost you $4,000. Basically, the attorney already made the money off of us, and we were finishing the other parts, and there was no billable hours. It was just part of the agreement. And so there was no skin off that attorney's teeth or back or anything, anywhere to give us any sort of honest opinion or anything. But still, because that attorney had already been paid and there was no more blood coming from this rock, decided to say something like that. And instantly, maybe I'm looking through this in the wrong lens. Maybe the attorney was trying to draw up more business as a consultant fee or something. I don't know. But maybe the attorney was trying to dredge us for how much money do we have? Is it a bottomless pool, or am I at the end of this? It's like one of those jokes. It's like, if we were married, we would just be, that kind of thing. Putting the idea in someone's head, like, that you're interested in, like, if we were married, just going with that and making the total joke. But he's putting the idea in the head. You could pay for my opinion because it would be real and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that was, and I can't really fault the person on that train of logic if that was it. I thought it was a totally different train of logic, and I was like, what a jerk. This is why people hate attorneys. And it was just the tip of the iceberg, but I imagined a whole iceberg of negativity surrounding it, which may or may not be true, but hey, it doesn't matter if it is or isn't. It's not going to really affect me. never dealt with that guy beyond that conversation ever again. So, and the business failed. So, and I wish, in retrospect, I would have done things very differently. And I wish I would have been more counsel to my buddy as far as like saving money and all that kind of stuff, and spending it in different ways, and really trying to work the idea from a different angle. But of course, experience and knowing the angles to work things out as is just a way. So I almost thought about doing a couple just talking videos of like free business ideas, and like have these $1 million ideas, like everybody thinks they have $1 million ideas. I certainly used to believe I did. And, and then like they guard this idea and like, no, just tell the world. Maybe somebody out there will actually use your idea. If you're probably not going to use it, hey, somebody else might, take a go of it. And so I was thinking about like $1 million ideas and doing a few videos about that. But back to the whole video thing, is one of the things I actually do want to get better at is being able to read out loud from text in front of me. And maybe there might be a couple practice sessions of that, and maybe that'll come from when I get that wild hair that says, hey, let's make a comment on this video. Let's actually really make what I would consider a high quality comment, or a highly comedic comment, or something that would be genuinely interesting. If like a hidden gold mine, like if I found it in the comment section, it'd be like read more, and I'd read more, and it'd be and I'd look at it like, wow, okay, this is a lot, wow. And the beginning gets me, it's like, I'm not stopping yet, whoa, I'm not stopping yet, and then going all the way through it. That would be amazing. I got a feeling that most people would just be like, wow. And that's kind of the point. Not for everybody. And having sometimes the extra fun stuff, the best jokes near the end. So if the person gets all the way through it, or near the middle, because the middle is the most forgettable spot. Playing around with the psychology of forgettability. Anyway, like actually, if there's a really good joke in the middle of something that makes a person stop and laugh, then it's more likely for memory pacing, like that becomes a new memory tab, and it also breaks it up in such a way that like, hey, because there's this tendency for people to remember, the primacy effect, the remember the first thing, and sometimes the last thing. Well, you break it into more sections. Maybe that big laugh in the middle breaks it into 2 different sections, like me mentally breaking into my mind and saying, hey, calling cadence, All right, so there's those ideas. Where was I going with this overall? I would love to wrap this up in a neat bow and a tight package, and maybe that's part of it. I do not have the skill to wrap up this whole monologue in one nice, neat little bow, but I'm working on it. Later it shall be.